What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Horsepower Cove. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, this is going to be another one of my Viva Las Vegas videos. This time around, this is for here at Horsepower Cove. Now when I'm doing these videos, it's very difficult for me to decide what fish to target. I mean, yes, the video is about celebrating this location, but we do want to get some fish in the video at least. And normally that means I'm throwing out some baits, waiting for some fish to show up. But this time around, I'm going to do something a bit different. We're rather going to go out early morning, see if we can find some fish on lures. Now I am allowed a second rod, so I will have a rod out there with some anchovies, hoping for some fish at least. But my main focus is going to be throwing around some lures, seeing if I get on some fish. Now obviously the sun is out at the moment. I'd rather do these intros with some light, but let's get to the action early this morning. There we go, got a fish. He went for it, but as I set the hook popped out and we got this fish sideways, so not a true catch. But at least he did go for the little lure. Get him with the net. There we are, little striper. Actually that hook is in his mouth, so we did actually catch this fish. So I can confirm that hook is in his mouth. It was just the line was wrapped around him. Just quickly want a little look at this fish. It's not the biggest little striper, but he was willing to go for my little whopper plopper. Nice to get early morning striper on top water. Lovely little fish. It's important to keep them in the water, give them oxygen, especially if you want to release the fish. It's good for them to have lots of water contact. One last look at our little striper. Good to get a little top water action this morning. Gonna get this fish back into the water. Now I wanted to catch another little striper, and let's get him back into the water. And off he goes. Good quick kick, and he's gone. Now I would have settled for any fish out there this morning, but I'm happy we got a striper. That was actually my targeted species for today. There we go, another little one on the whopper plopper. previous cast I just missed one. Cast it back out there and we got one. Actually, this is a little smallmouth bass. You can see his mouth is bleeding and ripped open there, so we had him hooked in the mouth, but that hook teared out, and the second one got him in his back. Our second little fish on Whopper Plopper, tiny little smallmouth bass. I just want to take some extra care with this fish because we had him hooked there in the back. Just want to make sure his spine isn't damaged. He looks to be fine. So let's get this little guy back to the water, and off he goes. One good quick kick and he's gone. That's now 2 species, smallmouth and stripers, on a little Whopper Plopper early morning before the sun reaches over the mountain. Alright, so the sun is finally out, peeking over the mountain. Now typically this is the time when the Whopper Plopper or any topwater lures, they don't shine as much, they don't work that good, because technically you no longer have low light conditions. And this is why I also never film early in the morning, little sunspots and stuff on the camera. But this does not mean that the fishing has stopped. There's still a couple of hours till around 10 or 11 where you can still catch fish. You just need to use something a bit different. So I'm going to swap over to a little robo worm, cast that around, see if I can get any more bass. I'm seeing quite a lot of bass in this area, and I'm still seeing fish jumping, but weirdly enough, even though it's the same spots, it's different fish jumping. At the moment I'm seeing carp jumping. It's no longer little stripers and stuff. Now, even though I do explain it in an older video, if you go into the video description, go all the way down, there should be links to some different videos, my striper setup or catfish setup or carp setup. So even though I do have videos for that, people ask me how do I rig my little anchovies, and it's quite simple. Here and just behind the eye by the gill plate there is a bit more sturdy plate. I'm just putting my little hook through that plate. That just helps the little anchovy head stay on the hook a bit better. And as far as the anchovy body and the tail, you want that frozen. You have to try and keep your baits frozen, that way they stay on the hooks, otherwise they just turn to mush and they fall off. Alright, so I've been getting quite a lot of short strikes. I think the fish are only grabbing the back part of the worm, they're nowhere near the hook. I think these are smaller fish. So rather than using a big profiled worm, I'm going to go for a little Ned rig, something a bit smaller, see if maybe the fish can get that hook. And the automatic hook setter went off. On here we just have some anchovies. Feels like a nice fish. Sorry if the sun is a bit in the way. And there we are, channel catfish. These channel cats have been real good to me this summer. Last year I couldn't catch that many catfish, but this year seems like every time I go out I get some catfish. Nice sized catfish. Lovely little spots on him. He's still yellow. Very full belly. Decent catfish. Let's get him back to the water. There he goes, splashing all around. One quick kick and into the deep water. There we are, another tiny little smallmouth bass. Let's get him back to the water. There we are, decent. Alright ladies and gents, it got a bit windy, so I moved around trying to find some different spots, and luckily we got on some more smallmouth. All in all, a good fun morning session, and that is the important thing. I had fun. It's quite easy to sometimes forget, especially when I said to myself, this is going to be my last cast. Well, it kind of dawned on me that this is my last cast for Horsepower Cove, and that is a sad realization. However, at least we caught some fish, so it was a fun experience. And that kind of brings me back to our little striper friend. Earlier this morning, I said that I'm very excited about that little striper, and the simple reason for that is that that might be my last striper here from Lake Mead. Now, my one bucket list fish, or the one thing I wanted to do when I learned I was coming to Las Vegas, was to catch striped bass in Lake Mead. Now, of course, that's not the first striped bass I've caught out there, but that might be the last one, and that's why I enjoyed catching that little fish. Maybe that's the last one, who knows? With the fishing out there, you never can tell. And with that, guys, please do show your support for me. Give me a little thumbs up for that little fish. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments, and if you haven't done so already, consider joining my community, hitting the big red subscribe button. Alright, but that's going to be it for this quick morning session before it gets too hot. Thank you for watching, and like always, I'll see you next time.